have that rematch available, and here we go. Spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Ley Lines, we have the red Protoss player. We have the red Protoss from South Korea. It is Classic. As he just got knocked down from the lower brackets, from the upper bracket, I should say. And meanwhile, spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the blue Protoss, representing Weibo Gaming, WBG. He's been fighting through that lower bracket, and he's made his way here to the lower bracket finals. Can he keep going to those grand finals? It is herO. We go. Again, the last time these two faced, Classic did bring herO down 2-0, but again, it was a very short series. It was the best of 3 and just hyper aggression, hyper cheese. We didn't really get much out of herO in that best of 3, but now he's warmed up. I mean, I say he's warmed up. Is he fatigued? You know, it's also a bit of a stamina issue here as well, a bit of an endurance fight for herO, as he's been forced to work through that lower bracket, had to face off against Cure and Rogue, now against Classic, whereas Classic just had the one series against Clem. So Classic a lot more well rested. Could be a factor. Coming into this, herO moving out, Classic moving in. So far, 2 gate opener out of herO. Classic back at home. I don't see a second gateway. We're going to be greedy here. Gate into Cybercore, into Expand. Classic doing his best Max Packs impression. Again, if you haven't been watching Korean PvP over the past 2 months, ever since the PTR went live, ever since the new patch, then you may not be familiar with this. But in general, the Korean Protosses have now been embracing that quote-unquote Max Packs opener of going for a delayed second gateway, going for a faster Stargate and a faster expansion. This has been a lot more prevalent amongst players like herO, Classic, Trap, Zaun, Nightmare as well. They've all been embracing it, all been mixing it in, and this is going to be ideal for herO as he sets up for a proxy. Let's go. Classic is being greedy, herO being hyper aggressive. The turns have tabled. He's like, mate, you cheesed the hell out of me last time. It's time for me to cheese the hell out of you. Proxy Robo, 1 base all in. 1 base all in out of herO. Classic going to be opening up Stargate into that expansion. Again, if you're familiar with Max Packs' opener, this is the same thing. Going for the Stargate into Void Ray if Classic feels like something is wrong and something is amiss. Now, with the Probe Scout, Classic, I'm going to say. With the Probe Scout, Classic, he knows that the pylon is missing. He knows that there is no pylon. He knows that there's a proxy somewhere on the map. Now, is it a real proxy or a fake proxy? Is it a Robo? Is it a Stargate? There's still a lot of possibilities here as to what it could be, so Classic has to slowly determine what is going on, and we'll see if he opens Oracle first. How greedy is he going to be? How safe is he going to be? There it is. Oracle's on the way. So this is going to be Oracle first. The goal here is to scout to get across the map and get some counter damage. Meanwhile, herO is committing to the all-in. And this is where Classic needs Void Rays. He needs as many Void Rays as possible, as quickly as possible. But he doesn't know. He has yet to determine that. Likewise, Classic was scouting towards the south side. Adepts, they threaten another shade. Keeping Classic busy. We should be seeing a Void Ray in production. There we go. Void Ray's on the way. First Void Ray's in production. Shield battery on the low ground. First Immortal has arrived. And herO, his goal here is to break the natural before the Void Ray arrives. Shield battery putting in a lot of work, but there's only just one shield battery and the Immortal is revealed. Now he knows. Now Classic is aware. First Stalker goes down. Classic hits the main. There is a Stalker in position. Stasis up. herO, does he notice? He does. He pulls away in time. Ooh. Does get caught out though. 3 probes get caught. And here he's pushing in, but the Void Ray has arrived, and Classic he's holding. herO being forced back. He's going to be forced back. Second Void Ray's on the way. As the Void Ray count gets higher, it becomes easier and easier here for Classic to hold. He needs more time though. Does need more time. Stalker's moving in. Still just one shield battery. Stalker goes down. Shield battery's out of energy. Void Ray's exposed. Void Ray is exposed. Clutch energy overcharge. Pylon goes down. Depowers everything on the low ground. Shield batteries, they do nothing. But now we have a second Void Ray. Classic holding on. Oh, Clutch Micro. Saves a Stalker. Saves 1, saves 2. And good juggling here by herO. Takes down a Void Ray. There's 1 Void Ray left. It's going to go down as well. Massive pickoff. And Classic has nothing left. GG gets caught. herO, he breaks the defense. He breaks the natural. And herO takes game number 1. Whew, GG. herO does take a lead in the series. Again, a very, very tense game state there. It was a little bit unfortunate that it took a little bit longer for Classic to realize what was going on, to realize that there was an all-in coming. Because of that, that's why the second and third shield battery were delayed. Winding it back, if you remember, there was only ever one shield battery active and powered on the low ground. The other two were much later than normal because it did take Classic a little bit longer to determine what was happening. He didn't realize it was an all-in until the Immortal arrived. When the Immortal arrived, then the realization set in, and then he quickly reacted with shield batteries, but alas, too little too late. They never really impacted the game. If they had finished, then the Void Rays would have survived, and maybe a different outcome. Maybe a different outcome there, but alas, those shield batteries, I mean, by the time they finished, they were already depowered. Pylon went down. There was a lot of urgency there on herO, and also I should also give credit to herO for his micro, for his control, saving those Stalkers, preserving them, and being able to, in a way, out-control Classic and break those Void Rays. GG. GG, well played. That's going to lead us here into game number 2. As a reminder, loser's pick. This is Classic's map of choice. And we'll see if Classic can bounce back as we're loading into El Dorado. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner of El Dorado, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the Blue Protoss, leading the series 1-0. But it's a best of 7, Pappy. We got plenty more games ahead of us, plenty more games to come. Representing Weibo Gaming, it is herO. And spawning in the bottom left hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Red Protoss player, representing himself, currently teamless. But alas, coming down from the upper brackets, we'll see if he can replicate his success and take down herO once again. It is Classic. Here we go. Now we're loading into a very different map. Welcome one and all to El Dorado. This is one of the few maps that has a ramp. A ramp coming into natural is a big factor here in PvP. What does that mean? That means low ground expands. That means it is a meta, it is standard and more viable here to open up with a gateway into Cybercore, into Stargate, into expansion. The opener that Classic had gone for in the previous game that is a little bit greedier on a map like Wisps of Gold, or on the map that he had gone for like Ley Lines, it is more standard and more safe on a map like El Dorado. So that is why both players are setting up on the low ground. We have our gateways into Cybercore. Now, if both players go Stargate before expanding, then there's a very high chance that we're going to be embracing Phoenix Wars. This is how Phoenix Wars are kind of born here, because it is very meta to open up Stargate, and if both players open Stargate, then both players have to make Phoenixes. You cannot make an Oracle, otherwise you're just behind. So we'll see if either one cuts any corners. It is possible to throw down the Nexus before the Stargate, but that's why there are probes. The goal of this probe is to pylon block. Oh! Ooh, as that should not have happened. One probe goes down already. Ay, ay, ay. Yeah, herO with a small win here. Oh, never mind. They trade out their workers, but this is brutal because that means that Classic has vision here in the natural, and herO does not. And there it is, Nexus before Stargate. Classic does expand, so does herO. Okay, no pylon blocks. No pylon blocks from either player. We both expand, which means, well, there it is, still Stargate. Still Stargate from herO, Stargate from Classic. Now, Classic knows. Remember, Classic, he has the probe. He has the probe in position. Classic, he sees the Stargate. herO, because of his loss, he doesn't see the Stargate. He should still go Phoenix, but there's a chance that he might not, because he might think that maybe Classic is cutting corners. But for the most part, this should be Phoenix Wars. We should be starting, and we should not stop making Phoenixes until the end of the game. Like, we're locked in. We should be locked in at this point. From here, there are certain power spikes that we can hit. So we'll get into it once we confirm that we're making Phoenixes. As herO does fully wall off, so the probe is trapped. There it is, Phoenix on the way. Likewise, Phoenix for Classic as well. Okay, so Phoenix Wars have begun. Now, when it comes to these big power spikes here, as gases are being prioritized for herO, that is the timing of the second Stargate. herO, he is very fun, and we have seen herO actually defeat max packs in the same game state with a faster second Stargate, with faster Phoenix production. If you can squeeze out a faster Stargate, then you can overwhelm your opponent. There it is, second Stargate, actually from Classic. Never mind, I was waiting for it from herO, but Classic is the first to throw it down. So again, there is going to be a window in time where Classic has more Phoenixes than his opponent and can overwhelm. And all it takes is being up 1 or 2 Phoenixes, and you can just dominate a fight and then end the game. This is also why Phoenix Wars, and there's a second Stargate for herO. Now, the timing of the Stargates, they actually aren't too far apart from each other. But far enough where there might be a window of opportunity here for Classic. There might be like a small window where he's going to have like a slight advantage. We'll see. But because it doesn't take really much to overwhelm and to take a fight, that's also why a lot of players do avoid Phoenix Wars. It's not the most... it's very unforgiving. Maybe that's the best way of putting it. It's very unforgiving and very cutthroat as well. As in one fight, the game can just end. But there it is. Double Phoenix production here for Classic. herO, his own second Stargate, just now coming online. Defender's advantage can be a big part of this as well, bearing in mind that we could see like a shield battery, for example, one player, and that can be a factor in a more defensive fight. Likewise, the rush distance when it comes to your production also can be a factor as well, as you can reinforce that much faster. Now Classic's moving out. herO setting up a proxy pylon to scout. He does what the Phoenix is. He's aware. Currently the Phoenix count is even. herO's being active. But now here we go. Classic, he does take a Phoenix lead. Classic is up one Phoenix. And here he's going to be so careful. Classic actually trying to camp the production. And he will. He catches one Phoenix already. Massive pickup. And hero's in trouble. The hero, he's in a lot of trouble here. He's down two Phoenixes. Probe's going to be falling. Forced to engage. herO, can he take the fights? I don't think he can. Yeah, losing another Phoenix and another. Down to 4. Oof, down to 3. 3 Phoenixes left for herO. Reinforcements, they trickle in, and herO, he's too far behind. At this point, he's too far behind. He's cut off from his reinforcements, cut off from his production, losing another and everything. It's all going to go down. Classic, he will take this game. GG gets called, and Classic ties up the series 1-1. GG. GG, well played. Just a really rough position there for herO. Basically, herO, he didn't know that Classic had a Phoenix advantage, so he took a risk by being active on the map. herO, he was out in the open. He got caught out of position. He lost a reinforcing Phoenix. And even if Classic didn't have a Phoenix advantage to begin with, like that was a big moment for Classic, catching that reinforcing Phoenix. And from there, GG. From there, GG, well played. Classic does outposition herO, and we're tied up. We're tied up 1-1. We're headed into game number 3. This is going to be herO's map of choice instead. Let's go. Phoenix Wars is basically like Zergling's ZVZ, but in the air. Not at all. Not at all. Just because when it comes to like Ling Bane ZVZ, Queens are a factor as well, and it is easier to reinforce. And I would say that Baneling connections can be a lot more swingy as well. When it comes to Phoenix Wars, it's I would say a lot more cutthroat, just because one Phoenix advantage can just win you the game. One Ling advantage or 2 Ling advantage doesn't really win you the game there. So not necessarily. But here we go. We're getting into game number 3, and spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Frostline, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the blue Protoss representing Weibo Gaming, being forced into a tied series. It is herO. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the red Protoss player, the red Protoss from South Korea, tying up the series 1-1. It is a Classic. I would say there's a lot more comeback potential in like Ling Bane ZVZ or even Ling ZVZ. In Phoenix Wars, unfortunately, there isn't. Like, once you catch a Phoenix, it's kind of game then and there. That's the big reason why players try to avoid it as much as they can. Just because something that's so, how do I want to put it? Not so little, but yeah, just very quickly the game can be decided from a mistake like that. So very unforgiving. Meanwhile, we do have herO just going for the gate. Oh, he's crazy. My apologies. I was a little bit enthralled by the chat, but for now, gate expand. herO cutting a lot of corners. One of the greediest builds you can go for. I say one of. Pylon into Nexus is something that we have seen from herO before, but a gate expand is very close here. So insane greed out of herO. Classic, he confirms. He does scout this back at home. Classic going for a gate into Cybercore. Classic doesn't have the setup for a 1 base all in. He does throw down the pylon though. He's rallying his Zealot across the map. He can set up a shield battery. True, he can set up a shield battery here on the low ground to try to support. Right now, there's just so much pressure on Classic to get something done. And there it is. There's that shield battery that we did mention. Again, Classic, he has to get some kind of damage here. Behind this Stargate from herO. Stargate from Classic as well? Uh-oh. We've been here before. Kind of. The difference, of course, being that the players haven't scattered each other. More shield batteries on the way. It's going to be a triple shield battery setup here from Classic. Now we'll sustain this Zealot. Likewise, more reinforcements on the way. Rallying Stalkers across the map. And again, Classic's goal here is to break herO. The other managed to get Archons, which are kind of hard to counter. That is only possible if your opponent is passive. There are ways to transition out of Phoenix Wars, but it's very difficult, very difficult. And you can only really do so if your opponent does make mistakes and does leave you alone. Meanwhile, Classic does push in, takes down one of the Adepts. Very nice pickup. Phoenixes are amassing. We have the Void Ray from Classic. Let's go. Reinforcing with Voids. More shield batteries on the way. herO trying to get his own up and running. Does have his own energy overcharge as well. True. Now he's got his second Phoenix. He can lift. He can lift, unfortunately, within range of the shield battery, so the Stalker will be kept alive. Yeah, the shield battery's out of energy. We'd have a second one finishing up, though. And herO, can he kill one of the Stalkers? Can he kill them? This is peak PvP, by the way. Nothing's dying. Nothing is dying. Oh, no. The shield battery versus shield battery meta. Let's go. Void Ray does right. There we go. First shield battery's under fire. Massive pickup. He gets one. herO's in trouble. He's in trouble. He's going to try to force his way through. Likewise, shield battery's running out of energy here for Classic. The Max Phoenix, can he overwhelm that Void Ray? He can. He can, and he will. Takes down the Void Ray. It took so much to kill one, and the problem is that we have another on the way. We have a second Void Ray rallying across the map. A third Void Ray in production. Classic, he has control of the low ground. He takes down the pylon. Pylon pushing in. herO trying to set up. He has a secondary wall here in the main. I mean, again, it is a one-base wall at a Classic. Here he did pylon bluff. So here he does not have to save that natural. He can give it up. Trying to catch reinforcements. Oh, he spots the Void Ray. He wants it. He wants the Void. Oh, but Classic, he just rushes into the main. He's pushing in. He's pushing through. Boys are being pulled. herO, can he make a stand? Takes down the Void Ray. Gets some of the Stalkers. Here's one Void putting in a lot of work. herO, he's barely holding on. Shuts down 3 of those Stalkers. Pulls back. Ooh, he has no gateways. He has no gateways powered. Ay, ay, ay. He can only make 1 Void Ray. He can make 1 Void at a time. That's all he has. Classic, meanwhile, can reinforce. And herO, he's in trouble. He's in a lot of trouble here. Being forced further back. Stalkers are amassing. There's no sentry. There's no force field. Nothing to stop Classic. Warp Gate isn't even done. And Classic, he should have this. As he will take down the final gate of herO. And again, herO, he did ask for this in a sense. herO, he went for one of the greediest openers you can go for. He baited Classic into the all-in, and he did it. He's like, man, okay, let's go. Despite the gate cyber opener, he committed to the all-in. He breaks into the main. Boys are being pulled. Oh my god. Meanwhile, the boys actually do a great job of buffering. True. You're doing a great job so far. Oh, Prismatic Alignment is now on cooldown. Did activate both. Third Void Ray popping out. herO is getting a robot. If he can buy a little bit more time, he can get an immortal. Now being forced further back. Boys being pulled. Phoenixes are being targeted, but so far the shield batteries are putting in a lot of work. They do save some of those Phoenixes a little bit longer. He buys time. Loses one probe. He holds. Whew. herO, he's holding. Repowering the shield batteries, and now herO has a robot, which means immortal production. He can make an immortal. That's what matters here. Classic is trying to expand. He's trying to transition. He moves out with the Phoenix. There's the expansion. There's the Nexus. Immortal's now on the way for herO. Classic Luna get further ahead. herO's now aware. And herO has to make a choice. Do we try to commit to a counter all-in and break out and commit? Or do we try to expand? And play from behind? I mean, for now, maybe I'm thinking further ahead. I mean, we're still stuck in the main. Here we go. Void Rays are going for a massive counterattack. Going to try and defend with one Immortal and a Phoenix. Immortal trading well. Takes out a Stalker. Boys are being pulled. Oh, the Immortal, it's going to be shut down. Massive catch. Yeah, it's just the boys. Void Rays, they race back. They race back home. They catch out a lot of these Stalkers. Oh my god. A lot of Stalkers do fall. Most of them even. The triple Void Ray, they're popping off. But alas, there's still, what, 5, 6 Stalkers left over. 7 Stalkers even. herO, he cut the Stalker count in half. Impressive. But still lose one of his Void Rays. Immortal breaking through. A couple of Voids are being pulled. herO fighting well with so little. But last Classic, it looks like he should have finally done it here. He finally resets the Skydust army. No Phoenixes, no Void Rays, not anymore. GG gets called. And Classic, he takes the lead in the series at 2-1. GG. Whew. Oh my god. GG, well played. Classic, he will take a lead. And with that, herO, he's up against the wall. Once again, though, we had a really kind of odd opener. As a reminder, herO, he went Gate Expand. He went for one of the greediest builds you can go for. And of course, Classic, he had to respond with the all-in. A much more unique all-in is what I will say. Setting up all those shield batteries, rallying Void Rays across the map. A very unique all-in. But alas, did overwhelm the natural. Eventually, we saw that herO, he was just having a really hard time keeping up with his own production, of course. He opened up Phoenix, which was a very interesting response, going for a Phoenix opener. The Phoenixes, they were quite limited in what they could do. They can lift up 1 unit at a time, of course. But Classic, in the end, he broke the natural, contained his opponent, and was able to just snowball from there. GG. GG, well played. But alas, it's still best of 7. Still best of 7, still plenty more games ahead of us. We're loading into game number 4. We'll see if herO can bounce back or if Classic extends his lead. Let's go. Let us go. As spawning in the top left-hand corner of Whispers of Gold, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the Blue Protoss, down in the series. We'll see if he can bounce back and force that ace match, and tie things up, I should say. For Weibo Gaming, it is herO. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the Red Protoss, leading the series 2-1. Can he extend it? It is Classic. We go. Now, this is going to be herO's map of choice, loading into one of the more aggressive maps in the map pool. We saw herO go for the greed in the last game. This time, I would imagine aggression instead. So my eyes are going to be on herO to see what he whips out. Do we proxy? Do we commit? Do we not? Let's go. I'll be a little bit surprised if we do see a Gate Cyber expand from either player. I don't really expect that here, Whispers of Gold, but we'll see. As our players are moving out. herO does dip into the main. As we mentioned, 2-gate opener. 2-gate opener out of herO. Classic going for a gate into Cybercore. Bold move. Bold move here. The turns have tabled. Classic is being greedy. Classic, he throws down the Cybercore. Classic is skipping his second gateway for a more economic build instead. And herO does confirm. herO, he confirms. And we'll see how herO does punish this, if at all. So herO pulls back. My eyes are on this initial probe. You see Classic making the initial Zealot. Ideally to make sure that there is no pylon block at the expansion, so Classic can expand. Zealot has arrived. herO, he doesn't pull away, he doesn't proxy, so he's not going for his own all-in. He's going for a standard opener, going Sentry into Stalker into his own Nexus. So standard play here out of herO. Classic cutting corners, being a little bit greedier instead. Oh, ooh, as he almost gets the expansion. There it is. Nexus is thrown down. So Classic is going to have the greater economy, and the pressure is going to be on herO to try to make up for that. And again, he's not going for an all-in. herO opening up Stargate. This should be for Oracle Harass instead. I know we've been seeing a lot of Void Rays and Phoenixes, but those have been very unique to those circumstances in the previous couple of games. Here should be Oracle. And then, again, the goal is going to be for herO to get some economic damage. Likewise, Stargate from Classic as well. Oh boy. Now, if we hallucinated Scouts, we could actually make the decision to go into a Phoenix. Hallucination's moving out. It is not going to be denied. So far, Classic he holds. And again, Classic, once scouting this initial tech structure, he can try to hard counter herO. Yeah, the Stargate is revealed. Likewise, herO is doing the same. Does confirm the Stargate. herO doesn't flinch. Still making the Oracle. Bold move. And Classic, he responds with the Phoenix. I would say this is very greedy. This is really greedy here by herO. Like, he sees a Stargate, he sees a Phoenix being made. He knows how difficult it's going to be for this Oracle to get damage done. And he will let it finish. Okay. Let's see what he can do. Oracle moves out. Likewise, Devs a Shade into the natural. herO trying to commit. Gets one probe. Gets two even. Up, up. Doesn't quite get three. Gets two probes. Likewise, Classic defends in the main. Oracle dips in. And the Phoenixes, they can respond. They can and they will. Oracle gets one. And from here is just going to be chased down. Does recall. Does save the Oracle, thankfully. Whew. Does save it. Second star. Let's... Second Stargate, let's go! Mass Phoenix. We're going into Phoenix Wars in a bit of a different way. So herO is going Mass Phoenix. Classic, he doesn't know what's going on yet. He's going for his own Robo. This should be for Phoenix into Immortal production. Classic has yet to confirm what's going on. Cheeky move here out of herO. This is so risky, but I mean, it has potential. So far, Classic, he has yet to confirm. And again, Robo Play is not really going to help out Classic when it comes to his Phoenix defense. So this can work wonders for herO. He's hiding this for as long as he can. He has yet to show his hand. Oh, so here he does move out. And Classic, he does miss the move out. He misses the army. Checking the army tab here. We're actually currently even on Phoenixes, but herO soon to overtake with his reinforcements. Classic is the natural, and here he's going for the main. He's going straight for the main base. Phoenixes, they're revealed for the first time. There are some soldiers to defend, but they can be lifted, they can be shut down. There's no shield battery. Yeah, there is no shield battery to defend. I'm loving the hallucinations. Scaring here about. He notices. Yeah, he does notice. He's like, hold up, you're not doing any damage here. Takes down the sentries. And herO, he just came to production. He can and will. Ooh, as he barely does miss the Phoenix. He's going to try and chase it down. Here he was barely out of position. And herO, he should have this here as he basically, he can just overwhelm. He has the higher Phoenix count. There we go. He forces the recall. And looking at the numbers here, herO, he's got 10. Jesus, 10 Phoenixes to 6. The Stalkers, they will help reinforce, of course. As Classic has to warp in as many Stalkers as possible. There's Revelation. herO catching a Phoenix. Massive pickup. Getting almost another. Still a very chaotic game state. herO committing, still making more. Still making more Phoenixes, getting to his own immortal production. We have a vanilla Stalkers to defend, which, yeah, they can't do much. The Phoenix count's gonna be reset. Oh my god, down to 2. 2 Phoenixes remaining. Picking up more probes. And you may be thinking, oh, what about the Stalkers? Are they not going to be a problem? I mean, that's what the Immortals are for. That's why herO, he's focusing on Immortal production. He's just building them up. Oh, let's get the hell out of here. Oh, no. Is chased down. Oh, here he does find a Stalker. Picks up a straight Stalker. A couple of probes. Committing here now up to, Jesus, 12 Phoenixes. Up to 12. Classic transitioning into Mass Stalker. Blink is almost done. Oh, I mean, sorry. +1 is almost done. Blink's still halfway. Takes on the final Phoenix. Let's catch the final Phoenix in the end. Now, I wouldn't have been opposed to like a second Robo and double Immortal production, but for now it's just going to be singular. Getting a third Immortal. From here, we should be working towards Charge. Charge +1. Yep, there it is. Charge is on the way. Now, the reason for this is because Charge also do a great job against Stalkers specifically. This is typically why in standard PvP you would get into Charge ults and then you have to get into Archon production from there, as that is the counter to the Zealot. Or Colossus. Or Disruptor. Here's moving out. This is a bit of a premature move out. So bearing in mind that Charge just started. Like, Charge, it just began. It's still a ways away. So bold move out of herO. He has no reinforcements either. 3 Immortals and a couple of Zealots. A couple of Slow Lots even. So this is very risky here. herO. Let's be careful to be caught out. Okay, backs off. We have the dive. Yeah, Classic dives in. He gets 1 Immortal. He gets 1. He gets, so he's going to get all 3. And herO, what are we doing out here? Gonna lose every single Immortal. Again, herO, we had no support. Charge is not done. No reinforcements, losing everything. And suddenly, herO, he does lose a little momentum here. He just threw away 3 Immortals, and that was meant to be the backbone of his army. And now suddenly this Mass Blink Stalker is looking better. It's looking much stronger here. Hey, Pap, we got too excited, Pap. We got too excited. We were ready. And with that Classic, I mean, now he's got momentum on his side, getting to +2. From here, he can go into his own Charge, into his own Archon production. The Phoenixes, they're trapped. Force a recall. And we have a game. Like, up until that moment, with herO throwing away those Immortals, I would say that herO had the lead. He had an edge. He should have 5 Immortals by now, with like mass Zealot reinforcements. We're now down to 2. And herO, he's vulnerable. Getting an Archon. Here comes a massive counterattack out of Classic. He's pushing. And so here we go. We're diving in, catching another Immortal. Down to 2. 2 Immortals left. Phoenix is diving in. Zealots are putting in a lot of work. We lift as many Stalkers as we can. Despite that, we go for the dive. The Immortals are exposed. He's going to get one. He's going to get both. Yeah, just barely brings him down. Does he have enough left over? Reinforcements are arriving. We're down to 4 Zealots. I mean, there's still a lot of Phoenixes, though, in herO. He's barely lifting up those Stalkers. Another Immortal has arrived. And herO, he's holding. He holds. Whew. Just barely, he does hold on. And imagine this defense with 3 more Immortals. Ay. It would have been crazy. Regardless, herO, he will still hold on. He shuts down the army, cleaning up and picking up every single Stalker. herO, he shuts down the push. Classic does plummet in supply. Behind this herO, he has better saturation, a higher probe count. Was not a clean defense. herO, he lost 6 Immortals throughout the course of this game. Was not clean, but he holds. He does hold, and now Classic, I mean, he was building up towards that push, building up all those Stalkers, and now, I mean, his army now pales in comparison to what he once had. Does not have enough left over. And here comes herO. And here he breaks through that defensive line, takes down the Stalkers. Classic trying to survive, trying to kite back. But again, we spoke about how well these Zealots can trade as they just lead the charge. Catching out Stalker after Stalker, expensive losses here for herO, for Classic, sorry. Cheap losses for herO as he breaks through. He breaks through, dives into the base. GG gets caught, and herO, he will tie the series 2-2. We have a back and forth. Let's go. GG, well played. A crazy game where herO did have a massive lead, a massive advantage with his mass Phoenixes. He was containing his opponent. He was building up his Immortals. And then herO, he was a bit premature. He got too excited. He moved out early on with 3 Immortals. He threw them away. Suddenly, things were looking better for Classic. But in that final fight, herO, he was barely able to come out on top. Again, it was a bit of a messy fight and a messy engage, but did go the way of herO nonetheless. And with that, GG, we're tied up 2-2. We're making our way into game number 5. Let's go. Whew. Let us go. Game 5, it is going to be Classic's map of choice. We're going to be loading into Ultra Love. Let's go. Loading into Ultra Love. Make Phoenixes, you have the excess minerals. Anyway, the purpose of going into Immortal is because that is the counter, the ideal counter against the Stalkers. You don't want to go into your own Blink Stalkers because you are perpetually going to be behind in the Stalker count and behind in Blink and behind in upgrades, so you make up for that with Immortals. That is why that would be the kind of tech path here to help support and help supplement your Phoenixes, as is typically the case if you're behind when it comes to Blink. But here we go. We're getting into our next game. We're getting to our next... we're looking to find out who will take a lead in the series here, as spawning in the top right-hand corner of Ultra Love. We have the South Korean Protoss player, the Blue Protoss, representing Weibo Gaming, tying up the series. Can he take a lead? It is herO. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the Red Protoss player, also from South Korea, being forced into a tied series. It is Classic. Can he bring it back? Let's go. As once again, welcome one and all to Ultra Love. Similarly to El Dorado, we have a ramp. We have a ramp coming into the natural. What does this mean? This means gate into Cybercore into Nexus. This means economic openers are the go-to. They are the standard, which means we could be seeing pylon blocks to delay the expansion, and we could be seeing Stargates into Phoenix Wars once again. We saw Phoenix Wars in El Dorado, so I'm alluding to the fact that we typically see Phoenix Wars on Ultra Love as well. The prerequisite is the ramp. Does dictate the opener. Oh, but Classic, he does get the faster expansion. Oh my god, herO out of position. Yeah, herO, he was out of position. The Nexus is thrown down, so gate expand out of Classic, and herO, he responds with his own Nexus. Oh boy. So the greed is real. Classic with a slightly faster Nexus. Now from here, let's see if we do open Stargates. Typically, we would see the Stargates before the expansion, and it's usually forced into that, but this is a very different kind of setup, very different kind of opener here from our players, as they did find the opportunity here to throw down their Nexus. They found the opportunity, and we'll see what our take of choice is going to be, and if either player does deviate. As again, the standard opener would be for the Stargate. We'll see if anyone is crazy enough to go for a Twilight Council, for example. Or a Robo. There it is. Stargates from one. We should be seeing a Stargate from the other. As we have our initial opener here out of Classic. Oh, my apologies. Yeah, herO, never mind. He does open up with the initial Sentry. Did have less gas to work with. And he goes for the second gateway. Okay, we do not have Phoenix Wars. No Phoenix Wars this time. Is going to be the more standard opener out of Classic. herO going to be committing into extra gateways into a more ground-focused composition instead. Okay, we're mixing it up. Oh, okay, we have a hidden Stargate in the main. Interesting. Again, he is not using as a part of the wall, the same way that Classic is. But the Stargate is going to be delayed. And because that Classic, he opens Oracle first. I mean, there's no reason to open Phoenix if your opponent doesn't have a Stargate. So Classic, he's lured into the Oracle, and herO, he can go Phoenixes from here. This is actually very similar to the game that we just had on Whispers of Gold, where if you remember, both players opened Stargate, herO opened Oracle, and then he went into Mass Phoenix behind it to catch Classic off guard. This is similar. Oh, similar but not the same, because that's interesting. Stargate into a Twilight Council. There's a lot going on here. There's a lot of tech, there's a lot of mind games here from herO. I believe the plan here is to go into Phoenixes to catch out the Oracle, and ideally to keep the Twilight Council hidden. We'll see if he can, though. Oracle dives in. Oracle's going to be zoned back, but now he scouts. He scouts. He sees the Twilight Council. Crucial moment there for Classic. He will lose the Oracle. But upon seeing this Twilight Council, now he knows it's not Mass Phoenix. He knows it is not a repeat of the last game. It could have been, and I'm pretty sure herO, he was hoping to try to make it look like that, but he's aware of the Twilight Council, and he responds with his own. Okay. Here we go. Second Oracle moves out, making his way into the mineral line. And not bad. herO's out of position. 4 probes going down. Gets 4 workers. He rescouts. He reconfirms. He also gets eyes on the would-be Oracle. And now Classic knows to be ready back at home. For the time being, taking a faster third, he expands. I mean, upon seeing all this tech, he knows that there's no real production behind this. There's no real army for herO. So Classic is safe to expand. Phoenixes move out. Classic's keeping up. Ooh, massive volleys going off. Zones away the Phoenixes. So far, so good. Does zone away. Oracle is out for herO. Oh, hits a natural. Gets a probe. Gets 1, gets 2, gets up to 3. 3 probes going down. Likewise, here Classic does the same. Oracle goes down. And herO, he will get the better trade. Still losing, well, both players, they lose their Oracles. But 7 probe kills. So with that, herO does take a lead. But he's behind when it comes to the timing of the expansion. So Classic, he can recover. He can make 3 probes at a time, a little bit longer. But now we're getting into our gateway compositions. Let's go. Our gateway is getting Duckling Stalkers. Classic does dive in. He does bypass the main army. herO out of position. Pylon goes down. Boys are being pulled. Classic trading well. Does trade well. herO racing back. That's going to be 10 probe kills. herO is getting overwhelmed. He's getting pulled apart. Gave it to 10 workers, bleeding down to the low ground. Will escape. So herO trying to keep up. Trying to lock down the army, but alas, Classic, he will be able to overwhelm regardless. He has the higher Stalker count, takes down the Stalkers one after the other. There's 3 Stalkers left. And herO, he just cannot keep up. He cannot sustain these losses. Losing everything here. In one wrong move, one misstep, and that can cost you the game. As herO losing 14 probes, an entire mineral line, the expansion as well. There's no saving this. and herO perpetually behind, trying to build up, trying to catch up with Immortal production, but GG gets called. There's no coming back from this, and Classic will take a lead in the series at 3-2. GG. GG, well played. Again, Classic just completely catching him off guard, catching him out of position, was able to dive into the natural, diving into the main, depower the gateways, and just completely pulled herO apart. Very impressive, very well played. I mean, again, it was still a very chaotic lead up to that game state as well, with like the openers, the gates into Nexus, into the Stargates, into the hidden Stargate, into the hidden Twilight Council. There was like a lot of flips, a lot of twists, a lot of turns out of herO. In the end, though, he was shut down, and Classic is now on match point. He's on match point. Remember, there's a best of 7. What does that mean? That means first player to 4 wins. First to 4 will advance on into the grand finals. Classic needs 1, and herO needs to win this game to force the ace match. Oh boy. And we have yet to see any kind of macro between these two players. It's been a very intense and very chaotic series so far. We've gotten up to like 2 base and like almost 3 base economies, but for the most part, it's been hyper aggression between these two players. Will we ever get a standard macro game? I hope not. Spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Leylines, we have our South Korean Protoss, the Red Protoss, 1 game away from making it to the grand finals. It is a Classic. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the blue Protoss player, the blue Protoss representing Weibo Gaming. Again, down in the series, we'll see if he can bounce back. It is a herO. Go. Here we go. This Classic does move out. Does move out. So far, we do have, again, of course, this is going to be herO's map of choice. We have yet to see both players open up 2 gates, as we have our 2-gate opener out of herO, and we'll see if Classic does respond with his own, as it looks like he isn't. Oh boy. Yeah, Classic once again going for gate Cybercore into expansion. More economic opener here out of Classic. And I'm getting deja vu. We'll see if herO is going to be baited into his own form of aggression here. So far, no proxy. Second pylon gets placed in between the gases. Classic does confirm, everything looking as it should. And Classic should be feeling safe to settle in. So we should be seeing a Stargate and then a Nexus thereafter. We could see Classic try to cut some corners. I didn't follow SC2 for half the year, more or less, but I would have said herO 4 is Classic here. Oh, I mean, Classic, I would say he's the second best Protoss in South Korea, right? Like, he's been in the shadow of herO for a long time, but it's one of those things where it can sometimes be hard to shine when you have herO, like, alongside you. So Classic by no means has ever been a bad player. I think a lot of people have high expectations, and, like, if you're not going to, and if you're not qualifying for these big offline events, then people kind of write you off. Like, people that don't watch StarCraft, they kind of, you know, they have the washed meme for players when they don't perform as well as they like otherwise expect, or if they aren't at tournaments. But yeah, Classic is doing well, doing really well. To be fair, Classic has been slumping for a bit of 2024, but specifically coming into December of last year, he has been on the rise, and we've seen Classic take down players like Gumiho, go toe-to-toe with players like Clem, for example. Like, his PvT, I would say, is probably his best matchup for Classic, PvT. And yeah, when it comes to this match, I mean, hey, he already 2-0'd herO before. And they bring him down again. But now, Stargate into Void Ray. herO back at home, expanding. So this is a really strong reaction out of Classic, actually. Like, he's responding like he's playing against a 1-base all-in. It's not, hero's expanding. Also a misread here by Classic. Ay, ay, ay. Is a misread. Again, Void Rays are typically what you want to produce if you're being defensive, if you believe you're up against an all-in. And here, he can just retreat. He can just back off. Like, he's fine. You just back up from here, reinforcing with Adepts. 2 Adepts, they can one-shot probes. And Classic is racing back. And again, these Void Rays, they get outscaled real fast and real quick as the game goes on. Another shield, but Jesus, another shield battery. Okay, now he cancels. Oh my god. Like, Classic is terrified. He's still making more Void Rays. Meanwhile, hero's just chilling. He's getting his natural. He's going to his own Stargate. Twilight Council's on the way into Blink. Oracle as well to harass across the map. Like, hero's fine. Oracle dips in. Wreaking havoc. Gets one, gets two, gets three. Oh, it's going to be thrown away though. 5 probes go down. It ups a shade into the natural, getting another probe. And with that hero, he does maintain his economic lead. Now, all that hero has to do is defend against a counterattack. Classic, he might feel like he's forced into an all-in because of this big investment, because of the pylons, the shield batteries, all these Void Rays. As we mentioned, like, this kind of army doesn't really scale too well here. He has to make use of it, right? He has to make use of this army in some way, so pushing might be the answer. And there it is. He is moving out. So hero, all he has to do here is survive the counterattack. I don't see a shield battery. Uh-oh. No shield batteries at the natural. This is a little bit concerning. Blink has begun, but it's not going to be done in time here for the push. Yeah, hero cutting corners here. Being greedy. Without shield batteries, I want to say that Classic can break through this. Yeah, he can, and he will. Does activate his mag alignment. Hero, he's forced back. Yeah, he has to abandon the natural. Pylon under fire. Boys are being pulled. Can hero hold? He has to try. And he's not going to be able to. Takes out one Void Ray. There's 2 left. Losing another Stalker. Down to 3. Down to 2. And here it looks like he's barely somewhat holding on, but now he's down to 1 Stalker. It's going to be focused down. The Void Rays, they reign supreme. At the same time, hero across the map, likewise doing counter damage. These are the only 2 gateways. And the gateways are being depowered. Hero being too greedy here in the response. He will snipe 1 final Void Ray though. There's 1 Void Ray left. But here he lost 13 probes, losing even more here at the natural. Again, no shield batteries, no defensive setup whatsoever. Hero, he got too greedy. Oh my god. Like, everything was going fine, everything was going well. He was up in workers, he was up in economy, up in tech as well. But it looked like he didn't believe that Classic would counterattack. He was like, I'm just ahead and I'm good. No, baby, no. Not like this. And with that, Classic now takes a massive lead. The pendulum swings from one player to the other. Classic now ahead. And is building up his own immortal count. Building up those immortals. On the one hand, a hero, he will have a more mobile army here with Mass Blink Stalker, but that's what the immortals are for. We mentioned this earlier when it came to how you support Phoenixes in the previous game with hero, and if your opponent has Blink Stalkers, that's where immortals come into play. You have to mass up your own immortals to make up for a lower Stalker count. Shield batteries, they're here from the early game, of course, so they're still set up. Hero, he's not making probes. Hero's down 10 workers. And with this proxy, I mean, now Hero's kind of forced to commit. Okay, now he's probing. Now he starts probing. Charge on the way. Hero's goal now is to contain. I don't know if he can, though. He can blink into the main. Dives into the main base. Forces the recall. Not bad. Does force the recall. Void Ray comes in. Does get sniped. The final Void Ray goes down. As we mentioned, I mean, again, they don't really have their place as the game goes on. They did their job. We're done with the Void Rays. That was okay damage out of hero. Setting up back at home. Robo into charge. Likewise, he has to be as active as possible. Again, remember, hero, his big advantage in this game is Blink. So he has to be as active as possible with these Stalkers to catch any stray reinforcements, pick off an immortal here or there, a couple of probes, a Stalker, a pylon, whatever he can get his hands on. Oh. As herO, he rotates. Does back off, does rotate. Classic now can expand, get his own third, so is herO. But Classic still has a massive army, and he's pushing. He's moving out, he has his own blink. herO going for a backstab. And Classic doesn't care. He doesn't care, he just keeps going. herO, he confirms there is no natural. And Classic is just going for the kill. Okay, here he has a stasis. Ah, there's the Observer. The Observer does spot this. Stasis will not go up. There is one shield battery in the mineral line. There's one shield battery set up. Stalkers, they blink over the wall. And Mortals are pinned back. But it may not matter. herO forced to recall as well. Pulling the boys, and it's going to be a tough hold for herO. He's doing what he can. Dives on the Prism. Prism survives. Oh, one Immortal goes down. Not a bad pick up. There's 2 Immortals left. But it's going to cost herO every single probe. 20 workers go down. The Immortal gets locked in place as well. And Classic, he's done it. He snowballs out of control. He breaks the defensive line of herO. And herO has nothing left. He's down to 3 Stalkers. Down to 2. Once again, forced to pull the boys. A very chaotic series. Not a single macro game between these 2 players. GG, and Classic will take the series 4-2, advancing on to the grand finals. GG. Let's go. GG, well played. Congratulations here, as Classic will claim the series. Again, a very intense, very chaotic series here between Classic and herO. A lot of aggression, a lot of all-ins, a lot of counterplay as well. Some really quirky builds at times and really nice reactions. When it came to this final game, of course, herO, Classic misread the game state. Classic, if you remember, he believed it was an all-in. That's why Classic was building up Void Rays. That's why he was throwing down extra shield batteries, extra pylons. Classic was terrified of herO. And herO was just chilling. herO who's just expanding, making probes. herO, he took an economic lead. herO gained map control. herO was in a very good position. And then he was forced back. And we would assume that, of course, herO would be aware that there was an all-in coming or a counterattack coming because, hey, you know, we had massed up all these Void Rays. We have to do something with it. But herO was woefully underprepared back at home. 0 shield batteries. No shield batteries whatsoever. Likewise, ideally, herO would like to slow down the push as it moves out across the map. He wasn't quite there either. And in the end, herO, he was overwhelmed. herO just, yeah, in a sense, maybe just not not really expecting that kind of counterattack, or just did slip his mind with that. GG, well played. Classic does claim the series, and now we are getting ready for the rematch. Let's go. It's going to be a best of 7 grand finals between Classic and Clem. Oh boy. Let us switch our scenes over and catch up on the brackets. Okay, here we go. We have our final results coming in. I know the bracket's a little bit small, so I do apologize. But here we go. We have Clem, who's been patiently waiting. Clem has been patiently waiting in the grand finals here. Clem, he did already defeat Classic 3-0 earlier today. We did cover that series. If you missed out, I do recommend the VODs, as we, of course, casted every single series here in the bracket. Clem has been patiently waiting. Classic is here to redeem himself. The rematch is upon us. Clem may have won in the best of 5. Can Classic fight back here in the best of 7? Now, we have seen Classic take Clem down before, at least take maps. If you were here earlier this week for the WardyTV Monday, we of course casted the event, and they faced off in the quarterfinals of the WardyTV Monday. In the best of 3, they went all the way to the ace match. Honestly, Classic was so close to bringing Clem down 2-0. It was a very intense best of 3, but that was a shorter series. Here, you don't really often get bigger than best of 7s. I mean, sure, we get some best of 9s every now and then, but the best of 7 is here. And remember, no vetoes. No vetoes here between these 2 players. It is a loser's pick instead. And the starting map, the starting game is going to be on El Dorado. Let's go.